Currently at JCPS, what I do a lot of is host showcases and college bus tours and stuff like that to help, I guess you could say, young men be exposed to HBCU life. A lot of young men don't know about black colleges because they see D1 or bust, but they don't understand that there's also Division I colleges at the HBCU level, namely in the local area, Tennessee State, North Carolina Central, Johnson C. Smith, schools like that. If you go further south, you got Arkansas Pine Bluff, of course, Jackson State, everybody knows about them because of Deion Sanders right now. And you got schools like that that young people don't know about that offer athletic and academic scholarships. You also have schools like Tennessee State, for instance, that offer in-state tuition. So you got the Keys Money King thing going on at JCPS that some young people don't understand, that you can take that money with you to Tennessee as well. No matter if you're from Louisville, Lexington, or anywhere else, they honor that scholarship that you get from education. One thing I do want to mention is the clearinghouse process when it comes down to student athletes. It's very, very vital to get started on it early. One thing I tell young people is it's never too early to get that exposure, get that information. Because the clearinghouse isn't something you want to do going into your senior year. You can actually start the process as a freshman. One thing that most don't understand as well is you might get a fee waiver, depending on your situation, if you get free reduced lunch. So I highly recommend that any student go visit their counselor and get the information they need for the clearinghouse. It costs a little bit, to pay for it and get everything processed. But the main thing is you don't want to wait till your junior year, your senior year to get that going, because then you got a boatload of stuff you have to do as far as your academics and other information you have to get from your parents. So the earlier the better when it comes down to the clearinghouse, in my opinion. One thing I do want to touch on is the academic base when it comes down to education and moving forward from, I guess you could say, from the high school level to the collegiate level, whether it is HBCU or PWI. Study habits. You need good study habits. And one thing you gotta do is tap into your resources. There's a lot of resources out there that young people don't know about, whether it's through Google or through their football coach or basketball coach, even through the school counselors, or even, depending on where they're at, the principal. Because the principal went to college. So one thing they can do is have a sit down with the principal and find out, what did you do to take the steps to get to college? Of course, everybody knows the higher the GPA, the higher the ACT score, the more money you can get. There's also scholarships out there that you can get online that nobody applies for that you can get. And one thing I do want to remind everybody is, just because you get a full ride scholarship doesn't mean that you can't get more money. They have those things called refund checks. And those things come in real handy when you're a freshman in college, and you want some money in your pocket to get a meal or to maybe to buy something for your dorm room. And so one note to take away is take your grades serious from the beginning. Don't worry about trying to catch up when you're a junior or senior, because it might be too late. But when you're a freshman or a sophomore, take it very, very serious. Ask questions, get tutoring if need be, especially if you're in high school, it doesn't matter. Get tutoring if need be. All in all, the process never stops and never slows down, especially when you're going from high school to college, because all you're doing is repeating yourself. One thing I do want to talk about, the reason why I attended a HBCU. Truth be told, when I was in middle school, I used to go down to Atlanta, Georgia, and attend a certain festival they used to have down there back in the early 90s or whatnot. And also I attended the Bayou Classic like every other year that I could, because I played football as well. And just the family environment that you felt. I also visited Howard University because my aunt went there and she's in a sorority. My mother's in a sorority. And so just the family environment that I felt when I got on campus with those different campuses, those different events, made me want to experience it. Truth be told, I never knew about Kentucky State at all. But once I came down for my visit, as far as being a student athlete, it was like home. My mom pretty much dropped me off like they do any other college visit, dropped me off and said, "Hun, take care of my baby while he's on his visit." And you would have thought I had been there all my life. The way that the students gravitated towards me. I even met the president of the university as if I was like this high profile student athlete. But all in all, one of the main reasons why is just because it wasn't too far from home and it felt like home. That was the biggest thing for me. One of the things I want to touch on as well is I guess the transition from being a high school senior to being a freshman in college. Take advantage of the people that you might get to know on your journey. whether it might be a counselor or anything like that, because the biggest thing is they're gonna know where you wanna be. They're gonna be, because they've been there already. So ask them people those questions. When it comes down to an HBCU or any college, do your research. You know what I'm saying? It's gonna be your home for the next 4 to 5 years. So make sure you do your research on that university or that college and make sure it's the best fit for you. One thing that I promote the most is don't pick the school because your parents want you to go there. Because just because they might have went to that school and been successful, it might not be the best fit for you. I'm a perfect case of that because my mother, she went to a PWI, which is predominantly white institution in Cleveland, Ohio, called Case Western Reserve. Very, very prominent university. She graduated and did all the great things she did at that university, but I probably would have never succeeded at that school or any school like it. Not because of education or sports, just because it didn't fit me. So my biggest thing is when you're making that transition, make sure that you find a school that's for you. Make sure you research it and ask questions. As a young generation, a lot of young people don't ask questions and they just go with the flow in a sense. So one main thing is ask questions because you're gonna wanna know. And so what you don't wanna do is you don't wanna get to that school and then find out it's not for you and then end up transferring and then you're almost gonna start all the way over. Besides that, whenever you have an opportunity to do better in school, do better. If you have a chance to, I guess you say, repeat or take the ACT again, take it. Take it as many times as you can because, again, the higher the score, the more money you get. And lastly, don't waste time because your senior year is going to go by faster than you understand. Because I tell people all the time, especially our student athletes, after January, it's over. It's over. By then, you're just pretty much maintaining and getting ready for prom, graduation, and spring break. So the biggest thing is don't waste time. Take advantage of the resources that you have and ask questions.